Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are doing a deep dive about who is Brandon.
Who is Brandon? Listen, I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. This past episode of Married at First Sight was really a big bombshell for me.
Yes.
Right? We was almost at the finish line, and it just seems like a new character was introduced to us literally the last episode that did not need to be introduced. But, it is what it is. What was your thoughts overall of this last episode with everything that happened, Blair?
I felt secondhand embarrassment.
Yes.
I was very uncomfortable. I felt like, you know what? This really isn't my business. I shouldn't be watching this. Mm-hmm. I felt like Emem was looking really, really down bad by the fact, number one, she accepted a proposal from a man who's sleeping on his sister's couch, who didn't present a ring to her. The first time he proposed. The second time, we don't even know if he bought the ring. So it was just a lot up in the air. She was very emotional. She was wearing matching tracksuits, and it was just a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Well, for those who didn't see it, Blair, go over that scene for us where she sits down with this guy named Brandon. We go touch on Brandon and what Brandon represents, at least to me.
Okay.
On this show. So, please walk us through that scene, Blair.
Yes. So she met him in the 5th or 6th grade. They haven't seen each other since elementary school. They reconnected over social media.
Yeah.
He asked her out on a date. She said yes. He is staying on his sister's couch because he's going through a divorce. Yeah. He walked or drove in the wrong direction for 10 years. And he talks about how he met his ex-wife or current wife at 29. And they got married 6 months into dating. He has an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old.
So let's break this down to the common denominator. I've been doing some research, and Emem did an interview with People.
Oh, okay.
And she was talking about basically how she met Brandon and things of that nature, and basically everything that we've seen on the show is basically what she reiterated in the magazine interview. But one thing that she said was that she felt like that Jesus sent Brandon to her life, and basically it was fate. I'm paraphrasing, that got them together because they reconnected from elementary school. I need you to understand something, Emem. Such as you believe that it was fate, there is a such thing as someone plotting on you. There is a such thing as someone reaching out to you since 5th grade. You are well over in your 20s. You get what I'm saying? You are well over into your career, well over into adulthood, and you are basically trying to find a common thread, and the common thread is that we had homeroom together in 5th grade. I don't understand the logic. And the thing about it is that your whole experience on Married at First Sight with Akechi was basically the stage, the setup for this deception right here, in my opinion. Now, granted, all of this is my opinion, but Brandon represents basically a lot of guys that, unfortunately, I think, what's the word? Prowl on women like Emem, right? The thing about Emem that we all know based off the show is that Emem is very successful, right? She has her own practice. She's very educated, right? And it seemed like she have everything. All her cards are basically straight. She have everything going for her except the one missing puzzle, by her words, is that she wants someone to share her life with. She wants a husband, right? And she even wants a husband to the point that she's willing to go on Married at First Sight. And I can understand you feel like I'm doing everything right in my life and I just basically want that last piece. But the thing about it is you don't want to be so desperate that you missed basically the glaring red flags right in front of your face. Let's start with this. He's sleeping on his sister's couch. Let's start with the fact that he's going through a divorce. That is not something that you should find yourself basically like, oh, yeah, me too. No, your experience is very different on Married at First Sight than his experience of being with somebody for 10 years or married for 10 years with an 11-year-old, by the way, and an 8-year-old. Very different. They had a chance to build a whole life together in the sense of they probably had a house. They had 2 kids. They known each other for at least a decade, and now that life is being split apart. And I find it very interesting that I watch you on Married at First Sight, and when you was talking to the experts, right? When you was talking to Dr. Pia and Pastor Kyle and Dr. Pepper, and basically when they was trying to get to the root of your problem with Akechi, one thing Akechi said, you always got these questions. That's one thing Ketchy said. You always got these questions, and I'm like, Ketchy, what do you expect her to have? Because she don't know you, right? Mm-hmm. But when it came down to Brandon and the fact that he told you information that I believe you should ask more questions, that I believe Emem, you should have put out that answer stick, you did not. I wonder why. He tells you that he's about to get a divorce or he's going through a divorce and he's sleeping on his sister's couch and you let him get away with, I was in the car driving the wrong way for 10 years and that's what happened. And you did not come out with more questions? Mm-hmm. What is your thoughts on that based on what I just laid out for you right there, Blair?
Yeah, I think that familiarity can be dangerous.
Yes.
I think that if you have a connection to someone to where you know of them from around the way, or you guys went to the same school, it can feel like you know the person more than you actually do.
Yes.
And I think that in Emem's situation that she probably does have this familiarity with him because I mean, look, she went on Married at First Sight. She was willing to marry a stranger.
Okay.
The fact that she has a familiarity with this person, maybe in her eyes, I was willing to marry a stranger. At least I know a little bit about him, who his family is, and that's good enough for me. And I will say, like, this deep dive, I don't feel like I'm trying to come at Emem or like even critique her decision necessarily. But I'm kind of looking at it in the broader sense of how desperate Black women can be for marriage. And that is like a loaded statement, but I do believe that in this country, like, we are pretty much not treated with respect and can sometimes be considered the least desirable in a lot of situations.
Okay.
And the fact that from youth, like, we're encouraged to want to get married, to want to have a family, to want to be mothers, and it's kind of ingrained in us, you know, society wise, to want these things for our lives. Like, these are the big accomplishments of your life, which I do believe it is a blessing and a great thing to be able to be in partnership and to be able to have a family. But that isn't the pinnacle of success. I think that Emem, you know, she is probably very proud of her successes when it comes to her own practice, being a nurse practitioner, but it can feel like all of this is for naught if you don't have someone to share it with or a child or a legacy to extend it to.
Yeah.
It can feel like I did all this stuff that for myself, which is great, but I'm still alone. And I just think that is a dangerous way of thinking because whether you're alone or in partnership, like, that doesn't dictate your worth. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't dictate your stance in society. And so I think that that's kind of like a broader, bigger conversation that this desperation can put people in really dangerous situations for themselves. And, you know, Emem, this might be something that really works out for her. He might actually be a great guy, but it's the danger of stepping into a situation to where there can be chance of dealing with crazy ex, of dealing with possibly having your payments and things that you've worked and earned for taken away due to somebody going through their divorce or some type of like child custody issues. So it's not always necessarily just your physical safety and well-being, but the things that you've actually worked for kind of being stripped from you in different ways because you're bringing on the baggage of another person. And I would say some people might say it's worth it if the person that they're with is really, you know, adding value to their life. But I think it matters to kind of weigh those decisions on if that person is worth it or not by spending time with them to make that determination. To go on 3 dates with somebody, have them propose to you twice in 2 weeks. If we're going by the timeline that we're shown on Married at First Sight, there's no way that you can really know if this person is going to add value to you or strip a lot of the things that you'd work for from you.
Well, here's the thing about it. If we go back to that People magazine that, like I read, that she said that because she was on Married at First Sight and she was willing to marry a stranger, she don't see the problem with it being so fast with Brandon. And one thing that you say, I don't have a problem so much with her dating Brandon.
Right.
Like that is not the confusion for me. The confusion for me is actually like, whoa, you accepted a proposal and potentially you are attributing you accepting this proposal from Brandon, who you know at fifth grade. I don't even want to say since fifth grade, but at fifth grade, that you're like, oh, if I can marry Ikechi, who I didn't know completely, I can marry Brandon, who I at least recognize his face.
Can I jump in?
Go ahead.
The only thing I want to say to that as well is like, Emem, you would think that if the experience didn't go well when you married a stranger, that you probably wouldn't do the same thing again or something similar too. But like you said, I think her thought process went to, if I can marry a stranger, then I can marry a kind of stranger. You know. But go ahead. Sorry.
But that goes. But like I said, but the thing about it is, she viewed Ikechi. Everything that she's viewing Brandon as, in my opinion, based on what we've seen on the show, is motivated by Ikechi. She don't understand that, one thing that she said in the episode was that, he wants me. He's nice to me. You get what I'm saying? The basically principles of humanity that everybody should have. Be nice to somebody. If you want to be in relationship with someone or married to somebody, want them. You get what I'm saying? And want only them. Ikechi was so much of the other side of basically the spectrum that basically Brandon could just come in and just basically be like, hey, I like you. And it seems like more than he is actually given. And that's why I want to circle back to Brandon and circle back to MM, right? There is a such thing. One thing I love about me is that, number one, I have a wife, right? Me and Blair been together for years and years and years before we got married. And I will say that I'm happily married. Well, like you say, you're happily married?
I am.
Right? I also have female best friends that I've only been platonic with. There is not a female best friend that I ever slept with, kissed, intimacy, any of that, right? All platonic. So I love the POV that I get from when I was first dating Blair. I get to see what she thinks, and I get to talk to my female best friends and see how the guys that they're dating and things of that nature, and how they are moving in the early stages of dating. And I remember when me and Blair went on our first official date, right? Our first official date, it was very important for me to have something for her. Right? And not only have something for her, but have something for her mom. So I got a bouquet of flowers for her. Yeah. And I got a bouquet of flowers for your mom. Am I lying?
You did, and it was very nice.
It was very nice. Now, here's the thing about it. Let me talk from a guy POV, right? A guy will only talk to a woman who he feels like he's able to get. Right? And I'm not talking about those guys that just willing to shoot their shot at anybody. I'm talking about guys that are serious about you. Yeah. So if there is a woman, let's say, Blair, we're not married. You don't know me. Okay. Right? And Blair, you are this woman who got her hair together. She's educated and things of that nature. Skin is glowing all the time. You got a good family core. I got to be like, let me make sure I got my ish together before I even approach this woman, because you give off somebody that I have to step up for. Dude, you get what I'm saying? Yeah, I hear you. Right? So in my opinion, I'm like, you are not only, for one, happy Women History Month to everybody, to all the women's, right? Right? Yes. You are a black queen. You are highly educated, right? You come from a good family core, you Igbo and things of that nature, right? You are, you have your own practice. You are entrepreneur, all these things, right? Beautiful. All beautiful.
Dress down.
All these things, right? And these are things that are just internally about you before we get to your apartment, your air fryer, your dog, your slippers, all the above that is not internal, right? Right. So Brandon felt like, knowing that you are the person that you are, that he could come to you and say, I sleep on the couch at my sister's house. Do that sound right to you, Blair?
No.
He came with nothing, right? I'm not talking about something as simple as bouquet of flowers as I did on the first date with Blair and things like that. He decided that I can talk to someone who is all these things, and my life is literally not together. And you are sitting there, right? As you said, God's favorite when you gave your letter or your poem to Ikechi, and you're willing to accept that? That's why I'm like, sometimes when you're in a state of being desperate, you can miss those red flags, and you can kind of miss your own esteem, in my opinion, right? You should not be talking to a guy, or at least thinking about marrying a guy who just got out of a divorce, who's sleeping on his sister's couch. Still married, right? And I'm going to talk about that next, right? Yeah. Who's sleeping on his sister's couch, still married, filed for divorce, 2 kids, and the only thing that you are happy about is that y'all reconnected on Facebook. That's the first day. This is 2 days after decision day.
And she said he's tall, he's a firefighter, he's got muscles.
Yeah. He actually go to the gym. Now, that's not the role that someone in your caliber should be like basically accepting, tall and muscles.
But like I said, kind of circling back to Black women and us being like one of the largest populations of unmarried single women.
Yes.
Like, it does play mental tricks on you and makes a lot of people drop their requirements when it comes to partnership, because they want to be in a relationship. They want to have children. They are getting to an age to where biological clocks are ticking louder and louder. And it's like, you know, when I was in my 20s, like, I wanted this particular type of guy, like speaking to some of the women who might still be single and wanting that marriage family unit. And the older they get, they're also seeing like, oh man, so the older I get, the guy's usually already been married.
I understand.
He might have kids already.
I understand.
These are things I probably wouldn't have wanted. But the dangerous part is, like you said, like, you're accepting below the level of what you should accept for yourself. And I do want to say that people go through ups and downs and transitions in life. So it's not a judgment on him for sleeping on his sister's couch. People fall and have to stay with family or whatever like that to bounce back until they get themselves together. So that's not a slight on him.
But
anyway,
stop right there though.
Okay.
I'm not judging him for that. I'm judging him for thinking that he's in a position right now to talk to Emem.
To court her. Exactly.
And that's why I'm like, this is who is Brandon. And that's I'm showing y'all who Brandon is outside of the muscles, outside of the firefighter, outside of the broker.
He's not in a position to court.
He's not in a position to court, but he felt like, you know what, but with you though, Emem, right? If you give me a crack in the door, I can kick that thing open, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Brandon is someone, at least based off what I've seen on the show, I only can go by what I've seen, is that, oh, he's not serious about you. He cannot be serious about you. So now we move on, right, to where we're meeting with your cousin again, right? And put it like this, the way I sound, the cousin probably feel the same way. I'm meeting with Emem and like this guy again, right? He's like, every time he said, I don't want to do this for every 2 months right. for you, right? He feels like, for someone of your caliber that I believe you are, Emem, that he can get down on one knee in the middle of this burger place. I don't know what place this was.
Yeah,
right?
This cartoon coffee shop.
Whatever it is, right?
Making me dizzy.
He feel like he could get down on one knee and propose to you 2 to 5 days after decision day, 10 days after decision day, whichever day it was. All I know, it wasn't a month, right? He could propose to you empty-handed?
That's wild to me.
Now, what you allow is what you accept.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is, what is your standard, Emem? Because my thing is, Brandon is showing us, right, blatantly, at least to me, as a guy, of, hey, who he is. Even on a smaller level, I'm not telling a guy to trick on a woman. No, I'm not. But there are women out here, and there are women that are in Emem's position that will be like, oh, even women that's not even in Emem's position of like, oh, no, you got to come to me correct. That's why, like, the older I get, I kind of understand why you give flowers on the first date, or like you give something to let them know, like, you know what, you are worth courting.
You're worth investing.
You're worth investing in. And flowers don't have to cost a lot. You don't have to get the flowers that never die. No, you don't. You should go to your Publix or like wherever store you go to get some flowers, take the tag off, and give her the flowers. But basically, you're trying to give some type of physical courting to where it's like, you know what, you're worth investing in. But all he invested in was his story, his couch, well, at least his sister's couch, right? His divorce. And now he's asking you straight up a special moment that's supposed to happen in the sense of, you know what, a proposal for you, and he's empty-handed, literally.
Yeah.
That's not crazy to you, Blair?
Absolutely.
He's empty-handed, right?
And it just kind of is the physical representation that you're willing to accept.
Yes.
Nothing.
That's what I'm trying to draw the bridge
that's
here.
That's wild.
Yes, that's wild. That's what I'm trying to draw here. I'm trying to draw this metaphor that this guy is willing to give you nothing.
Yeah.
He's on one knee. He's very comfortable in front of the cameras, and I'm going to talk about that in another video of Emem. We watched 18 seasons of Married at First Sight. If you hired this guy, I'm going to do more research. Listen here. I'm just saying, I am the supplier this week when it comes to the deep dives with basic crack like the 80s.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But the whole point is he literally got down on one knee, and he proposed with nothing. Now, since y'all like talking to us and listening to us, thank you. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of our inside story, right? When my father passed away, I was taking care of him. I downsized, right? Too much house. It's not worth for me to be buried under the house and things of that nature with the bills. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get my own place, and I got my own place. At this time, Blair did not live with me, right? We was not married, but we was together for like over 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
Over 5 years, right?
Like 4 years.
Yeah, so we was together, right? Now, I knew that this place that I moved into was not her place. I knew eventually that I wanted to move her in with me.
Planning, forethought.
Exactly, right? But I know that this will always be my place. This will always be special to me because this is the place that I got right after my father passed away. And I can actually, like, you know, basically I'm taking 3 steps back to basically be able to take one big giant step in the future. You get what I'm saying? So when it was time for me to propose, let me move a little bit ahead. I was like, you know what? In order for me to really get, because I want to be married, right? I got to get Blair into my space, right? So I invite her, things worked out to where in our careers to where I'm like, Blair, move in with me, right? She moved in with me. She made this place her place, basically our place, right? But even though she brought her clothes, even though she brought her furniture, even though she brought her, even though she got her vanity and her makeup and all her stuff here, it is still not her place. It's still not special to her. So in my head, I'm like, before I leave this place, I have to make this place special for her. So when it came down time for me to propose, I came up with an idea of, you know what, I plan on moving from here in the next couple of years, but I got to put a staple here that not only that I will remember, but that my wife or soon-to-be wife will remember, right? So one day I called her. I said, hey, I got to go pick up something from the store. I got to pick up something from the mall, da-da-da-da-da. And then we went to the mall. While we was in the mall, I had my sister and my sister-in-law come into my place and decorate the whole place while we was gone for my proposal that I wanted to have my proposal here because I want her to always remember this place.
Yeah.
Even though I knew I wasn't going to be here much longer, even before I married Blair. But I wanted it to be as special to her as it was as special to me when I first moved into this place. Oh, y'all following me so far?
I'm with you.
So
I was there.
Yeah, oh yeah, you was there, right? And when she came in, of course, she didn't know what was going on because we left together. So obviously, she was the last one that was in the spot. So she didn't know how she left the spot when she left.
Right.
I was in the car. So I didn't have magic powers and teleported and fix everything. She was with me the whole time. So when she came back and she saw the decorations, she saw basically all these decorations, all these roses, and I got down on one knee and I had a ring.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Basically, the whole point of that was that, hey, this is no matter how many houses we buy, no matter how many places we move to, you will always remember this place, and this place will be special to you because it's special to me. Now, this is your special place.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for him to just do it on the whim, Emem, what I just basically went down the list of who you are, you're not someone that should be accepting things on the whim.
And just also kind of adding to that, like, number one, he didn't have a ring for the proposal.
No.
And just the lack of planning for location. I mean, is there a special place that you guys used to go to when you were 10 that you could take her to a park or something? I mean, I still don't even think that's a great idea because literally y'all don't know each other. You haven't been able to create special memories or even go to places to where you could say, this is where we did this. This is where we did that. One of our good friends, to share a little bit of their business, they had a scavenger hunt proposal.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing that I've, ever heard. And they went to all these different places that were important and special to them. And Chris's best friend, and he planned all of that for her, and at the final place was their first date, and that's where he proposed. So I'm just like, the thought that you had to make this apartment special for me in the way that it was special for you, and for your best friend to create a montage or scavenger hunt of all these memories and to create a big special one. It's just kind of like, that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not only just about the ring, but for the person to think of you so highly and in so much regard that they put forth the effort to create something that is a like core memory for you. That's huge. And you know what? For Emem, this may be a core memory for her getting proposed to in the cartoon shop. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying?
So I asked the question, who is Brandon? Because now I'm starting to know you for your works now.
Yeah.
And your works is that you come empty-handed, but you come with a lot of words.
Yeah.
You come with a lot of basically riddles. And I don't want 1,000,000 women. I want one woman to love 1,000,000 ways. I was driving in the car the wrong way for 10 years. And then now I realized I just got out and jumped out and things like that. So who is Brandon? Brandon is someone who can go to the jewelry store to get I think it was a 4-carat diamond ring or like whatever carat it was.
Yeah.
But yet sleep on his sister's couch.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm thinking about the kids. Because I'm wondering, you got all this money for this diamond couch, but where's the money for the apartment and the rooms for your children to sleep in when they visit you?
That's man.
So it's just a lot of questions about priorities.
Now, here's the thing about it, right? The only reason why I have a problem with Brandon from what I've seen on the TV is because he proposed and you accept the proposal. If you just would have came on the show and just dating Brandon, I wouldn't have no problem. Right? I just would have been like, okay, finally, like she's dating, she's back out there. She's not using this time to basically cry about it. She's going to go out there and start dating, not using this experience as a reason to be like, you know what, I'm done dating, I'm back out there.
Yeah.
But you accepted a proposal, right, from a guy who sleeps on his sister's couch, but able to buy a 4-carat diamond ring or whatever. Blair tells me all the time, apartments is not hard to get. You can get an apartment in less than 14 days, if that. So I don't understand why he's on his sister's couch.
Yeah, I did say that.
But whole time I'm starting to think this, right? What Emem is doing on this show, because I would say, at least from my opinion, from this side of the table, that all this was basically a reenactment or scripted or whatever, because he seemed too comfortable and y'all was lovey-dovey at this whole like Thomas / celebration of Emem engagement party, which I don't understand. Listen here, you ain't gonna plan no birthday party for me and then it's gonna be / engagement party for a member. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But I will say this. What makes you different from Madison? And wait a minute before y'all click off. I'm going to draw a parallel here, right?
All right.
I remember when Dr. Pia was talking to you and she asked you a question. She said, hey, knowing how Ikechi treats you, I'm paraphrasing, how bad he's treating you, why you still want to be in this process? Like, why are you still calling him your husband, right? She said, well, he is my husband. You know, that's just a fact. Like at the end of the day, he is my husband. And Dr. Pia was like, okay, spicy, right? So if we go off of the fact of you were still dedicated to the process with Ikechi because he was what, Blair? Your husband. Let's go with the facts then. Brandon is still that woman's husband.
Yeah. And
you accepted a proposal from a married man. I don't care if he just filed the papers, unless it is completely over. You accepted a proposal from a married man.
And that's another thing I don't get. I don't see why y'all can't. The thing is, some people, the lines get gray about dating while you're going through a divorce or separation,
and things
whatever,
like
things like that. But my point is that you can't even marry somebody while you're married to somebody else. So why accept a proposal?
So what's the rush?
Exactly. Like you there's no reason to rush for a proposal when you guys can't even get married legally. So just date, get to know each other. And then when you guys are able to get married, get engaged. Like I like it doesn't make sense to me.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The whole idea,
it's like you can't get married anyway.
So why so the idea that now let's go over the facts, because we about to bring this first part home. I know we didn't go over every scene. Remember, I said I'm gonna give it to y'all this whole week. So I'm trying not to empty out all my points. But let's go over who Brandon is. Brandon is someone who can go on a date. For one, I tell my guy friends, don't even date if you still in your parents' house. Don't even date if you don't got yourself together, because there ain't no point of you being an anchor in nobody else's life.
Yeah.
Right? You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying be a millionaire. I'm not even saying make 6 figures. But if you know you got some T's to cross and some I's to dot, do that before you start talking to, like, before you start dating and things of that nature.
And to add to that, just be in a place for a man to sustain yourself.
Yes.
I'm a little, with women, I feel a little bit differently, but I feel like men, if you're going to date and court somebody like that, then you need to be in a place to where you can sustain yourself.
Yes. So with Brandon, he's able to go on this date, be with this woman, be on his sister couch, even though he's a firefighter, broker, real estate. He got all the jobs in the world. Oh my goodness! But yeah, he's on his sister couch. I understand you're going through a divorce. You probably gave her the house. You probably gave her. I'm all for that. But my thing is, make sure those T's are crossed. Make sure those I's are dotted. Right? You're on this date. You're trying to court this woman. Then you propose to this woman with no ring, nothing, no plan really. It was on the whim because guess what? That's how you really feel about her, I guess, that you can basically on the whim her, even though she's successful in all these things. And then you're like, let's get these matching jumpsuits, right? I'm going to propose to you in this jewelry store now. Before I even buy the ring, I'm going to basically reenact or basically act like I'm going to buy the ring. Mind you, all of this is not even 10 days later, right? All the while, he's in your condo, Emem. You get you're so open now because that familiarity or that fake familiarity, because trust me, nobody from 5th grade can reach out to me now and say they know me. Right? Because 5th grade was a whole 2 decades ago.
Nobody from college for me, because I'm a whole different person now.
And guess what? Facts, right?
Yeah.
So we talking about not college, not high school, not elementary school. So you know this guy that he told you to his face. He told you to your face that he's on his sister's couch, and you got him all up in your condo. You let him see your karaoke machine.
Yeah.
You should let him see your air fryer. You let him see your view and things of that nature.
The air fryer gets them upset. You know what I'm saying? But he jumped to it. He was like, I could get down with this.
But and that's why it's like now it's like we can't even call I never call Ikechi apartment dusty. But we can't even call his spot dusty because at least he got his own spot. Dude, you get what I'm saying? And it's like I just want better for her.
I want something for her.
Like
anything,
something,
very much something,
and I don't really
not nothing,
and I don't understand why she don't understand based on what we seen on the camera that Brandon is just basically another version of Ikechi. A lot of words, a lot of fluff, don't really have no action behind it. That's
a lot of riddles.
A lot of riddles.
Yeah.
But that's who Brandon is. Let us know in the comments below. Do you have something else to add about Brandon?
No.
Let us know in the comments below. Especially, I want to hear from the women since it's Women History Month, not Black Women History Month. We had our month last month, y'all. White women, come back up to the front, y'all. Okay. Come on down. It's Women History Month, and I want to hear some stories. I want to hear some personal experiences of, do you feel like, at least in the dating pool, Blair tells me there's feces in the dating pool today, there's pee in the dating pool, there's bodies floating in the dating pool. I want to know, do y'all find it hard to date? Especially guys who's willing to come with something. Blair says something.
Yeah.
Right? I guess everybody want a free ride. I'm now that I'm older, I always knew that I'm gonna come with something. And then it's your choice to make the decision if it's enough.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Because like you said, the guy doesn't have to come with a house already, 2 cars, a dog, all that type of stuff. There is room to be able to build with your partner. But they, at least for me, when it comes to being like in your late 20s, early 30s, the person should be able to have a job to where they can care for themselves, have a place to lay their head. And depending on what city you live in, you might not even need a car if you're in a major city. So it just really depends on what you find as an asset and valuable. And the thing is too, it's not all financial. Like the person can be a good listener and to be someone who really adds value to your life in an emotional way, and even someone who's very supportive and consistent. People are flaky these days. To have somebody who's consistent and shows up for you every single day is a huge thing. So all those things.
Listen here. Let us know in the comments what you think. Listen, I'm sorry I made that parallel to Madison. I know Madison the worst, and I know a lot of y'all was skipping those Madison and Davis scenes. But if we going by her words, the facts is that you were still faithful to Ikechi because he was your husband. That man's still married.
Right.
And you're still married too.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? You're not even officially divorced. Based off the previews that we saw for the reunion, this man asked Pastor Cal, can you marry us? What are we doing here?
I think they're trying to get a wedding special.
That's why I said, Emem, if I find out that you staged this, you paid this guy to come on this TV screen and have my wife take notes on this guy, I'm telling you, boy. Let us know in the comments. For one, the first question is, how do y'all feel about Brandon? How do y'all feel about Emem accepting this proposal from a guy empty-handed? I believe he's empty-handed, right? Also, let us know if you have experience. Hey, the dating for me as a successful woman, black, white, whichever race you are, it is kind of murky because you know what? not a lot of guys got their stuff together. You get what I'm saying? Usually for guys, listen here, women are usually, especially black women in like our race, they are usually the most educated, you know, compared to the men. So more times you will find a woman that probably got her, I don't know about finances, but she got her education, all that stuff lined up by 25 and up. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is wrong with her. Dude, you know what I'm saying? but like when like it comes to education and paying off debt and all that stuff, she's already on the roll at 25. We as men, we don't really start hitting our peak when it comes to finances until like our mid going into our late 30s. So and things of that nature. So please let us know your experience, and we will be back with another deep dive. Listen here, the next deep dive is going to be about Emem. Okay? Come back. We see y'all.
Bye.